What is going on, everybody? It's Destiny Malibu and my co-host,
DJ Desi.
We are so excited to be back. We missed you guys.
Yes.
And
thanks for coming again.
Yes, and we are going to be talking about some more mental health topics. Of course, if you are new to the Destiny Malibu podcast, we are a mental health focused podcast.
Yes.
And we want to, build a community of people who are working on themselves, who are talking about things that are going on in their lives and feel like they can bounce those ideas off with other people, with other like-minded people, and continually grow ourselves every single day. That's what we're about around here. So some of the topics we're going to be talking about today are going to be a little heavy.
Yes.
One of the first ones that we are going to be discussing is actually about how to deal with the loss of a loved one.
Yes.
And we are going to be in another episode pretty soon here talking about how to deal with the holiday seasons. Holiday seasons can be very tough for people during this time of year, especially if you're dealing with the loss of a loved one. So Desiree and I are going to start with talking about how to manage and cope with that loss.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you guys know this, if you follow us on social media, Destiny Malibu and DJ Desi on social media, but we actually just recently, literally a week ago today, actually lost our grandfather.
He was 85 years young, though, people. 85 years young.
85 years young, and we love him so much, and we miss him, and it's been a really, really tough week just trying to navigate through those emotions. We have experienced loss, and that is never something that is easy to deal with, but our grandpa Doug in particular, who we lost a week ago, he lived with us
Our whole lives.
So that in particular has been really difficult because he's someone that we've been used to seeing
Every day.
literally every single day for as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
So that's really been hitting home, and it's been really hard, but we want to talk with you guys about how to work through those emotions, because losing a loved one, dealing with death, is something that is unavoidable for all of us in the human experience. All of us are going to experience losing someone at some point. So if this is something that we all are going to experience, how can we work through this, and how can we
be there for each other, and help each other, because you're not in this alone. Like we say, we're in this together.
Yeah, we're in this together, and we want to be here for you guys, and we want to share with you guys some tips on how to cope with such a severe loss. So the first tip I want to give you guys is to talk about your feelings.
Yep.
And you are going to probably feel a wide range of emotions, and everybody is different on what they're feeling. Some people experience immense anger. Some people experience immense sadness, grief, guilt, denial, shock. There's so many different emotions that you are probably going to experience, and our suggestion is to just make sure you let yourself feel all of them.
Yeah, you don't want to bottle it up. You got to let it out.
You got to let it out, and none of those emotions are wrong.
It's okay to have your feelings.
It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to ride that wave, because it's going to change each day as you are adjusting to this new reality. So we just want to remind you guys not to bottle up those feelings, and to talk with somebody. Talk with somebody about how you are feeling and what you are going through.
Exactly.
I know in our family, we all were feeling different emotions.
Yes, we were.
And still are. But, when we found out in the initial moments, it was a combination of shock and anger and sadness and grief, and you just have to remind yourself that it is normal to feel all of those emotions, and sometimes even all at once.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And feeling your emotions also can cause you to maybe neglect yourself. So we don't want you doing that. So it's important to remember to eat food, drink water, and get plenty of rest along the way, because those are some of our survival things. We need to rest, we need to eat food to survive, and we need to drink water.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that I've talked with, and myself included, sometimes when I'm dealing with a really stressful time, there can be, different responses. Sometimes we undereat, sometimes we overeat, sometimes we're, turning to alcohol or something to try to numb us. And it's really important during a time of grief, to the best of your ability, to try and just sit with your feelings.
Yeah.
And try to prioritize that self-care, and not forget that taking care of yourself during a period of grief is actually probably one of the most important times to take care of yourself, because your body is already under so much emotional and psychological stress that it's so important to remember and not neglect to take care of yourself physically. So make sure that, you know, if it's not you personally and it's a friend or a loved one, to check in on them and say, hey, you know, like, did you eat today? Is there something I can bring you? And just try to be there for each other, because it can be pretty challenging.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're dealing with that much grief to even think about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
And another tip we want to share with you guys is being patient with yourself, because sometimes it can take many years. Sometimes it'll take months until you feel like you're somewhat at a place of normalcy in your emotions as you're going through and grieving something that big of a deal. And be patient with yourself, because it might feel like, wow, like, am I going to feel this way forever? And I'm going to feel this huge hole in my heart forever. And I can say that even though you never stop missing someone, because I have lost friends and family members before, you never stop missing somebody. But the pain does ease a little bit over time. So it's a reminder to yourself that you're not going to feel this way forever. You're not going to feel this huge sadness forever. And I think that's important to remember, especially when it can feel so overwhelming. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't sustain this level of emotional volatility for very long. Right. But it's just a reminder that it will get better, and just to let yourself feel those emotions, and understanding that the missing doesn't go away, but the pain will ease with time.
Exactly.
And give yourself time.
And also, don't forget that, like, just because you're missing someone and maybe you're afraid that you're going to miss somebody, you don't have to forget them. There's plenty of ways to remember your loved one, through photos, through stories, through, you know, creating like a celebrating of life celebration photo book, something along those lines that will help you to always remember the person that you lost.
Absolutely. And a lot of times we can find comfort when you're really missing somebody. If you were lucky enough to be able to have, you know, a piece of their clothing, like a jacket or a hat or a bracelet, or, you know, sometimes even just photos, being able to look at photos and cherish memories, scents, you know, if they wore a specific type of scent, and
cologne or perfume, and
so many of those things can take us back into that moment with that person and really help in those moments when we're like very desperately missing somebody. And so I want to remind you guys to like have that coat or that memory or something that you can turn to on hand, so that way in those moments you know a remedy that you can turn to, that you know immediately is going to make you feel a little bit better.
Exactly. I know that whenever I'm going to be playing rummy, I will always think of Grandpa, and when we played cards, because he was the first one to teach me how to play rummy.
Oh no, we're crying. Yeah. And, you know, for me, like, some really amazing memories I have of my grandpa is my grandpa always called me his Marilyn Monroe. And he loved watching my music and my music videos. Oh, we're both crying now. Got to pull it together. Loved watching our music. I loved watching Desiree and I perform. And it's just important to remember that you can talk about those memories. And here we go. Trying to keep my tears inside. But it's just nice to know that you still have those memories. You still have those belongings you can turn to and still feel close to that person. And it's so important to talk about those memories and just let yourself reminisce and feel the memory of their presence.
Exactly.
Because it really, really helps.
And one thing that he loved to say when we would play rummy, he had a saying for every card that he'd pick up. But the one that sticks out is 8, skate, and donate.
Yeah, he loved to say that. He had a bunch of sayings for every single time you guys were playing cards. I wasn't ever the best at playing cards, and still I'm not, but we have really fond memories of our grandpa. He loved to play chess.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big game player.
Yes, he'd take us to play tennis, too, when we were little kids.
And one of my favorite memories of him is actually when I was a little girl, I don't know why, but him and I were both obsessed with pistachios. I was obsessed with pistachio ice cream, so was he. He loved pistachios. And I remember just, he would get like, I don't know, like a 25-pound bag of pistachios.
Was it that big? Maybe like a pound.
No, he would get
25 pounds
huge.
is huge.
I mean, maybe it looked like 25 pounds because I was like 5. But I just remember huge bag of pistachios. And we would just sit there in silence and just cracking open those pistachios and eating them for like hours. And so I always think of my grandpa when I eat pistachios. Yes. So just, little things like that to remember and hold on to. And it really, really helps to share that with somebody when you're really missing them.
Exactly.
And to think about something positive about that person. And 2 more tips we have for you guys. One is, a lot of times we lose somebody unexpectedly, or we always think we're going to have more time. So a lot of times we don't feel like we got to say everything that we wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
And something that can be really helpful with the grieving process is to write a letter. Write a letter to that person that you lost, and just let yourself say everything that you wanted to say that maybe you didn't get a chance to.
Right.
And just let all those emotions out. And this is something that really helps, because I know a lot of people, when losing someone, is like, wow, like I didn't get to tell them I love you for the last time, or I didn't get to tell them about, that one time in my life that really meant so much to me, or a deep, dark secret, or whatever it was. Write it in a letter. And this can be really, really cleansing and beneficial for our mental health to, get that out on paper and to just release it from our bodies.
Yeah, definitely.
Physically. So this is something I highly recommend. And then last but not least, of course, if you are severely struggling, we recommend always that you talk to a professional and seek professional help, because no one is going to have better answers for you than a professional. And talking to a friend or a family member or someone trusted that you love is also extremely beneficial. But talking to a professional, if you have that opportunity, there are online hotlines for free, actually, and you can find resources like that. And I'd love to say BetterHelp, because BetterHelp is like a very affordable online version of therapy. And if you have an in-person therapist, that's amazing too. So we just want to remind you guys that even though you might be feeling so much right now, that you are going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And healing doesn't mean forgetting. To cherish those memories and to be patient with yourself, give yourself time, and surround yourself with people that you love.
Right. And, if you want to share any happy memories of the people in your life that you may have lost, please feel free to send it to askdestinymalibu.com,
Yes.
and we'd be happy to read those.
Yes, absolutely. And you can also, on our YouTube channel at Destiny Malibu, you can leave comments about your loved ones there on this specific episode. I think that'd be really beautiful to read. So we love you guys so much, and we are so excited to be talking about mental health at the Virgin Hotels Las Vegas and sharing with you guys something that I think is really important to talk about.
Because you never know when it's going to happen, and sometimes you expect it, but, it's important to talk about it.
Yeah, and we are just so grateful for you guys and for this community of people focused on bettering themselves every day. And we love you guys so much, and we will see you on the next episode.